Okay, let's look at the discourses here. So Chicano, I already talked about. Jungian psychology, so she's a big fan of Carl Jung, who, along with Sigmund Freud, basically founded modern psychoanalysis. Jung was different than Freud, that he didn't go into all the sort of negative sexual stuff. He was more about archetypes and sort of myth. And imagery and synchronicities and stuff like that. So he gets into a much more sort of aesthetic, mystical space with psychological movements, and that's why she likes him. So the idea of the shadow beast that she uses is a Jungian idea, and she does like archetypal work too, right? So what she does with La Chingada and that whole complex is basically a Jungian move. Historical consciousness, so she'll give you a lot of history here. It's not going to be the easiest to decode, and probably based on the historical education you have, if you have any in terms of the material she talks about, it's going to be difficult. But basically, Mesoamerican history, right, pre-Columbian, right? She's going to talk about Aztec history, Toltec history, right? Uh, and then that's pre-Columbian, right? Pre-Columbus, right? And then she'll talk about the Spanish Conquista, which is roughly 1492 to the late 18th century. And then she'll talk about Mexican American history in the 19th century when uh, when the United States uh, invades Mexican territory, which was Mexican territory at the time, which was Texas, Arizona, California, all that stuff, right? Those six Southwest states were all part of Mexico. And eventually, United States wins the war and takes that territory from Mexico. And then she'll talk about, sort of gringo or Chicano history in the 20th century. Um, she'll also talk about womanist history or feminist history, right? So she'll be looking here at um, uh, feminist history or feminist sort of historical consciousness within, she'll start within her own culture, right? So her own Mexican American culture, right? And and then she'll also look at Mesoamerican culture, and then she'll look at basically Western culture in general in terms of that. And she's going to try to revise history according to feminist or womanist principles.